how these randoms keep getting jobs. Don't worry about it. I'm going to say it. I can't wait to say it. I love it. I love it. Go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Not Bland Show, and I'm your host, Dujane Bland. Of course, we're powered by Everything Nitro and SportsJourney.com. Man, the NHRA season has already kicked off. Let's be clear. We've had several divisional races, but it's about ready to kick off for the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series here in Gainesville, Florida. And hopefully, Mother Nature gets her thing of tequila and sits back and minds her business and enjoys the show. I am super excited about this weekend kicking off. We've got my cameraman in the comments. You know what, Fred? I am not anxious this time. I don't know what it is. Maybe therapy is actually working, but I'm not anxious this week. I'm very calm, and that's unlike me, and you know that. Yes, Drag Racing Mayhem. It is underway, and we're going to get some nitro. Unfortunately, we did not have any testing today. That's my boy. What's going on? In the comments. Love it. Yeah, you know, Fred. You know exactly what I'm talking about and who they're for. Those randoms know who they are too, really. Yeah. So we didn't have any testing and this week. Rain, of course. And we've seen this, you know, even me and my camera guy, Fred Warner, we've seen this several times where we get a lot of rain. And for some reason, this track, as they talked about, I don't know if you guys were watching, the testing a little bit on YouTube when Brian and AR came on. But this track, it tends to bubble up the rubber, and they have no choice but to scrape it from finish line to starting line. We've seen it in the last 3 years. We've seen it several times. I believe 3 years ago, if my memory serves me correct, when we came back on Sunday, and don't get me wrong, NHRA worked really hard, and it had gotten cold that night. The rain had been terrible. Come out there and look at that track, and it looked bald from starting line to finish line. And I'm looking at Fred, and I'm looking at Bobby Bennett, and I'm like, ain't nobody getting down this racetrack. It's bald as a pin. And they went out there and lit it up. Actually, that was the year that Trip Tatum won. So they have been working their butts off from the baby Gators to now the big Gators Nationals. They've been working hard to get this track together. Drag Racing Mayhem says, top few call out about to be in Indy again. Yes, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but you can't deny what's going on as far as the weather is concerned. Saturday's forecast, it's flipping and flopping around, and I'll take a look at my phone right now because I've been paying attention to it pretty much all day. Have not looked at it lately, but I know here in the Valdosta area, we are looking to have rain. And in Gainesville on Saturday, it's fluctuated to being extremely high. Now we're at about 60%. It's a scattered thunderstorms developing during the afternoon. What is the afternoon is the question. Is it 12 o'clock? Is it 2 o'clock? Who knows? Is it 4? Because, I mean, forecast says in the afternoon sometimes, and we think, well, we're going to have a rainy day at work. We're not going to be outside, and it doesn't even rain until we get off. So it really just all depends. I'm hoping that it can hold off until 6 o'clock. They can get some rounds in. But, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough to navigate this weather that we're having. We're going to have Elon Werner on in a minute. I believe he's busy at the moment if he is at the gathering that is at Bernie's Speed Shop. But we're going to talk a little Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza, and we're going to show you a few things too. Something we weren't able to do last night on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Was able to sub in for that. Appreciate you guys who tuned in and watched there. But it's going to be a fun race. Since we're waiting on Elon, I will just go ahead and we'll just start looking at some of these really cool cars. And I don't think I got everybody, but here's Cruz. That Stealth Black is where it's at. I'm loving it. I think they need to go dark 30 with this. Kind of a reboot here with the crew chiefs, and the team. Hopefully they can come in and have a great season and get off to a quick start here in Gainesville. But I'm really liking the paint scheme and that stealth look. Everybody, every time you go out there and you have, a black look like that, it looks sleek. And with the snap-on colors, I love it. So we've got Buddy Hull, and I'm excited for Buddy. He does look like a funny car guy, no doubt. And this is a paint scheme we've seen with his Top Fuel dragster, and bringing that over here. I got the Moon Eyes up front to Jim Dunn Racing, and I think they're going to have a pretty good season. He's adding a little bit of extra funding to this thing as well. I think they'll be willing to step it up a little bit. I learned something here recently about Alex Laughlin, and one of the biggest issues with Alex in this car is that he's too tall. Like, he sits up extremely high and kind of hunched over in the car, not very comfortable for him. And that was part of the reasons of some of the lack of success. And, when you can't be natural in anything, trying to, drive a race car, it's a little difficult to be in a car hunched over, with your arms kind of bowed out. That's not good for anybody driving anything. So this car fits Buddy a lot better, and I'm looking forward to really seeing Buddy get after it. I think they're going to win some rounds, and I believe they're going to win a race or two. And with that said, we have the man of the hour, Elon Werner, Mr. Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza himself.
DJ, what do you know, man? I'm here at Josh Hart's Bernie's Speed Shop. We got the big car show autograph session for the Gatornationals. So John Force just showed up. So we're, there's any number of bracket busters and bracket winners inside this building right behind me. So sign up on DragRaceBracketBonanza.com and we'll get it all squared away.
Yes, I am going to go right into it here, and I'm liking some of these things that we have here, and I'm going to go right into the stats where we've got some real cool stuff here. I pulled up Paul Lee. I was doing some investigating for some article that I'm writing, but here we are. We have stats, round win-loss records here. Even when you flip the card, it has their career best speed, where they're from or where they're residing, and their birthday. We talked about it on the Power Hour, but it gives people some options because everybody doesn't really pick the same.
Right. That gives people that don't know anything about the sport, if you want to pick based on somebody's birthday or where they're from. We want it to just be fun and people can have, unique ways to pick things. But the really cool thing is the stats. That's forward facing, so you don't even have to sign up for Drag Race Bracket Bonanza to have access to those stats. But we would love for people to play, sign up. But that was a big deal for me, was to just give people the opportunity to have information to make an educated guess or feel more comfortable in your uneducated guess.
Right. And, they have even older drivers on here.
Yeah.
I'm just taking you guys through, allowing you to see what's going on in here.
There's the one button that shows you can click active drivers, and then that'll just show you just the active drivers
right here,
right there. And so then that'll give you all the current stuff. So we'll be adding to that. I know there's some gaps, but we're adding to that. So it'll all be current, and it'll be updating as the season goes on. So when you see the 2024 stats, they'll all be accurate for what's happening race to race. So
I love that. That allows people who are stat, guys and stat gurus to take notes, be able to keep track of those things. The website here, Elon, is just it's stunning.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys really did a excellent job with this site.
If you go to races, if you don't mind, as I direct you around, what I love is how we're showing how the season rolls out. So we'll have every race will have that graphic highlighting the winner, and then you'll click on it and gives you a little bit of nugget about the race, plus everyone that's won it. So if you go down there, you can see by category who's won it to help you make choices.
This is amazing.
And once we get started in the season, as it shows the matchups, you'll see pop-up cards on the head-to-head matchups that'll give you the race stats, a little picture of the driver, and then also who picked them. So you'll be able to kind of go back and see where people's confidence are. So I'm super, super excited about it, really excited about people signing up for leagues. But the biggest thing is I want as many people that played last year. Your credentials are still good. You can just sign in, same username, same password, but then also encourage new people to sign up. Get on the email list. We don't bomb people with emails, but you will get a tip sheet on Friday. You can also sign up for text updates, so you can get a reminder when the bracket's open and a reminder when they're about to close. And then I'm super excited. We have merch now too. So if you want to support Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, you can go to our Shopify page, and you'll notice basically this merch is not a profit center for us. We want fans to be able to get the stuff. So the price is basically our cost. So you can get a hat for $15. You can get a t-shirt, I think, for $15. So we're kind of, the traditional white and black. We also have some baby blue. And my daughter, Abby, came up with a great idea. There's one t-shirt that has the season on the back of it. So it looks like a concert t-shirt when you're basically going around the country, seeing where everybody's at.
Yeah, I think it's that one there.
Yeah, yes. And you can thank the great Bob Tasca gave us permission to use a rendering of his car at the top of it. So Tasca's been a great supporter. Guys like Buddy Hull, Justin Ashley, Josh Hart, they all love it. Caps is engaging with it. So we're trying to build a community and give away. We'll still give away cool stuff. We'll still do the plaques. We'll do championship belts. We'll do some more cool prizes. But just excited to get it started, and we'll be ready to go for the Gators.
Man, it's fantastic. I'm super excited. You guys really, really have outdone yourselves on this one. I think it's going to be amazing. Looking ahead to the Gatornationals here, there's a lot of big players and a lot of not so big players that people wouldn't think of. When I think of people coming into this race here, Paul Lee comes to mind with the Johnny Lindbergh, Medlin combination here. He really could play spoiler big time
for sure
to someone's bracket.
Yeah, do not sleep on guys like Paul Lee. Don't sleep on Dave Richards.
Yes.
Don't sleep on Buddy Hull. I mean, Jim Dunn has made vast improvements there. So now it's going to be tough because there's some guys that are going to be the Gonzagas. They're going to be, the Tennessee Chattanoogas that may be a 15 seed taking out a number 2 seed. So it's going to be really, and in Top Fuel, young guns like Cody Crone and Jacob Patterney, it's hard to say, Tony Stewart, I mean, he's got a great operation, but he's still a rookie. So how much do you put on rookie driver in an established car? Do you go all in on that? Or do you realize he may have some growing pains? So it's going to be awesome. And to me,
week one is tough.
Week one is tough. And I just love that people are talking about it and they're already thinking, we had people posting on our social media about, hey, my alarm went off for Sunday morning to turn in my bracket, and this is the last Sunday that I can just ignore it. And that just makes me fired up. So
yeah, I was thinking about it at the Pro Superstar Shootout. I was like, man, could you imagine?
Yeah, we had a lot of people asking us about doing it for the Pro Superstar Shootout, but with the chip draw, you just don't have that bracket stability. So but we're excited about growing it, excited about the possibilities. Really excited. NHRA's getting behind it. The teams are getting behind it. We'll have some exciting things going on all year. But the biggest thing is just want everyone. It's free. It's great for all ages, families. Get on and play. If you want to start a league, you can start a league. But ultimately, it's just, for me, it's a passion project that I'm just excited to see people play in.
And there will be a podcast here coming up, correct?
Yeah, so we're talking about a podcast. We're talking about possibly TV shows. We're going to try to do some things. We'll have an app probably by the middle of the season. So we're going to work on a couple different ways to promote it.
That's what's up, Elon. I'm super excited. I'm glad the Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza season is here, and we'll let you get back to it.
Awesome.
Thanks for taking the time, my friend, and I will see you Saturday.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Elon, that's the guy. Man, I'm so excited. And as you see across the bottom there, our code for the Not Bland Show League is there. So if you think you can outpick me, which I know it seems like, yeah, I can do that. I'm just going to tell you, I'm pretty darn good in the NFL picks. Finished top 3. So just saying. And it's over 90%. Just saying. So pick your poison wisely. But I'm super excited about this. And everybody's, it's one of these things that gets people invested. I said it on the Power Hour yesterday. I created a fantasy football league and with my family. And we had some family members that didn't even pay attention to football at all. And they became vested in the season and in football and watching every Sunday because they had players involved and their players needed to do well in order for them to win. So this is the same thing. I'm looking to try to get people and convince some of my family members who don't watch, convince some of my friends that don't necessarily watch to get involved in this. And you can do the same thing too. I guarantee you, they will become vested when there's some skin in the game. So I'm looking to be having some fun, and I know you guys are too. I'm super excited about what we have coming on here. To continue what we were talking about with the Gatornationals, I will go with another one, J.R. Todd. Don't sleep on this guy. He seems to quietly have good seasons or good outings at the Gatornationals. And it's not a big fanfare where he's running super low ETs and putting up big numbers on the board. He's just going out there and kind of like, Alex Smith, check down Charlie, just throwing the check down and marching down the field, getting points and getting wins. He's definitely a guy to watch, and I think that car is going to be a lot better this year. They were really off to a good start last year until, the wreck that happened, and it seems like that whole thing just threw them off kilter a little bit. I'm really excited to see what they do, and I really think they're going to come out guns blazing starting this weekend. Another team that I'm looking at, Sean Langdon. He's got Brian Husen back over there with him. He's familiar with him. They have a really good rapport. He was with him during the Alanabi days, if any of you remember that. He was with him there. I think this is a car that is going to be a sleeper. Their biggest problem last year was consistency. And they were able to develop at times and put up some really good numbers at times, but at times also when it mattered, they missed the mark. So I think Brian's going to provide a level of consistency there. They both have a rapport with each other. So it's kind of one of those things where you have a really good offensive coordinator that's in him and his quarterback are in sync, and they can go to the bench and the quarterback can tell him what he saw based on certain plays that were called and how they can make adjustments. And I think that's what you're going to see here with Sean Langdon and Brian Houston here. You're going to see two individuals that are going to be communicating a lot and feeding off of each other in order to come up with the best combination week in and week out to win races. So I'm super excited for him. Doug Coletta, my man's coming in here with the number one on the car. They won the Pro Superstar Shootout. They looked flawless. They're dangerous. Now, hopefully, we've gotten all of the yips that we saw at inopportune times with this car out of the way. And they didn't show any signs of that in Bradenton. Gainesville usually provides one heck of a track that produces speed and ET, even when the track doesn't look like it's going to even hold anything like that. I expect them to come out with the bats and trying to hit home runs. I want to see Doug carry the title and be in contention at the end of this thing. It would be storybook. And think about it, right? Ron Capps was a guy who could not seem to get over the hump. And when he got one, the floodgates opened up. Could this be the same thing for Doug Coletta? We'll see. But I think he has a good chance with a guy named Alan Johnson, the czar of the playbook, calling the shots. This is a new car for Antron Brown. I love the colors. I love the color combination there. They're another one that people aren't talking about too much, but there's so much going on. You got Tony Stewart in here. And your event winner, who was unable to defend his title last year, Trip Tatum, is coming and going to be here this weekend. He's kind of like a Capco 2.0 type car. Kind of set up the same. I don't know if that's the same thing this year, but supposed to be. So it'll be interesting. But Antron Brown doing big things. They seem to be very focused, very dialed in, and they're going to be a contender this year. Justin Ashley wearing some new colors, the Skag colors there. What I'm hoping, and I don't know, not everybody who listens or watches this show watches football, but the Cincinnati Bengals alternate colors with the white in place of the orange, Skag Power Equipment needs to do that. They also need to supply both of their drivers with a helmet that looks exactly like that. Talk about fire. That would be awesome. But he's in the Skag Power Equipment, still got the Phillips Connect on there. With a little bit more resources, I think you're going to see this team really get over the hump. They look good in the regular season, and every time they hit the playoffs, they fall flat. And I think this year could be the year that at least they will be in contention all the way till the last race of the year. They've got to break through at some point. He's one of the toughest drivers out here, one of the best leavers. And if they can just take that regular season consistency into the playoffs, going to be huge. Going to be huge for them. If you didn't like Vance and Hines before, well, they've got another teammate, Ellie Tunglin. I'm glad to see him back. The boy can ride. And he's going to be on a Vance and Hines Suzuki. It's going to be still going to have the Nitro Fish on it, as you can see. I'm looking forward to seeing him out there. Really wish he would have been out there last year. He did come in and sub a few times for people in the last couple of years. Really looking forward to seeing him back out here. He's one of the young riders that he's a tough rider. And he's a former champion. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. We had Ryan Aller on the show on the Power Hour yesterday. And man, this little El Bandero tequila, Yankee tequila bike looks good. If you did not watch that show, they will be having tequila on tap. Margaritas, you can buy tequila there. I'm just saying, if you need to find me, I'll likely be there somewhere. I'm going to sample something before I leave. You can bet that. And you should too if you're going to be there. Especially if it might, we don't want to talk about that, but it is what it is. So we have a good bit of cars here this weekend. Pro stock car, we have 24 of those bad boys. In pro stock motorcycle, we have 19. That's, at least we're going to have some bump spots. And I'm going to go shout out to Drag Racing Mayhem. Got to support the guy in those graphics. I'm going to drop the banner real quick so you can see all the names. We've got 17 and 17, Top Fuel and Funny Car. Some names on there. As you can see over there in Top Fuel, you see Trip Tatum. He's going to be back. You see the name Tony Stewart there. Sean Reed will be out there. He's got himself a team with Wendland and my guy, Ryan Elliott. I'm looking forward to it. You got Cody there. It's going to be fun. Going to be fun. Chad Green, I'm hoping he does something well, bounces back. You got Daniel Wilkerson. He's going to give us some really good sound bites. And Dave Richards. I hope he can get down the track. He didn't do so well in Bradenton. Went down the track as many times as I have in a funny car. So hopefully he will be able to get down the track and be able to make some laps here. Yeah, it was a spectacular graphic. Got to give you props. I'm going to go to the little guy every time when I want graphics, and this one was good. And I'm glad you put your little stamp up there so you can get full credit, but you're going to get the credit anyway. So that is your Top Fuel and Funny Car ladders. It's going to be a good one. So let's go into the All-Star call-out shootout, and here's your participants. You say, where did Leah go? Well, for reasons that have not been put out there, she's not running. They pulled out. Now, my assumption is with Tony and her driving a car, the car that she would be driving, would it be a backup car? Likely. So that's extra parts, extra crew that you have to free up. That creates a lot of extra work for everyone, right? First race of the season, kind of want to have Tony as comfortable as possible as he can be. I know he really wanted to make some laps during testing. Unfortunately, I think he got one lap. I think I have the time posted in my Twitter somewhere. It was decent, had some decent numbers, really good numbers. He made a really good pass, but he wants to get as many passes as he can under his belt. And the risk of possibly hurting another dragster, if that's your backup car, yeah, that's a problem. And that costs money. So I'm sure they did it for money reasons. That put Josh Hart back into this thing. He's won this one time before. There's some heavy hitters in there. I'm going to tell you right now, if I believe Steve Torrance has the pick. And Steve, in the press conference, said that it is not really about driver versus driver here. It's really about the crew chief picking out the Huckleberry crew chief that he feels like that his tune-up can beat. And he's pretty right on that. But when I look at this group of drivers, who is your Huckleberry? You can say that it's Sean Langdon, but they're really the wild card here. There's really no data, or there's really nothing to go off of, because those two haven't worked together in a long time. That was Al Anabi days. So there's really nothing to gauge off of with those two at the helm. I think they're the wild card in all of these drivers. Hopefully Brittany will step up. I know they didn't do so well in Bradenton, but your top guy is the champ. He had a flawless time in Bradenton, Florida, and there's no reason to not think that he could possibly win this thing. I think Sean Langdon's the wild card in all of this, but it's a group that is tough, and they all have really good crew chiefs. I'm really excited to see what goes down here. And the schedule for your Pep Boys All-Star Call-Out Shootout is as follows. If you're going to be there Friday, they're going to have an autograph session at 12:30. I mean, on Friday. On Saturday, they'll have those selections at the Top Eliminator Club. They'll have the opening ceremony. And then at 1, hopefully at 1, we will have first round. And as you see, semis and finals will be wrapped up by 4:25 Eastern time, if all goes well. Yeah, I'd love to see Steve have a great year. It's always really good, or a really good time, when Steve is doing well. We all know that. They make it tough on everybody, and when he's feeling confident and talking a little trash, it really does fire up the rest of the group and the rest of the drivers. I really do hope he has a good season as well. Drag Racing Mayhem says, Antron is my early championship pick. He's always been there, just hasn't broken through yet. That's not a bad pick at all. Talking to him on the show a few shows back, they just seem so confident, so relaxed, and it's like they know exactly what they need to do, and they know that they can execute it. There's a lot of different drivers and a lot of different cars that are going to be out there. Like Elon said, Tony's jumping into a proven car. I mean, basically, it's just a matter of don't screw it up. Does he step up and jump up and be able to be in contention for the championship? Who knows? But I can tell you, it's going to be a dogfight with all these different players in Top Fuel. And it's not showing up on this particular race. And I think there are going to be races where you see 19 or 20 Top Fuel cars. And there's going to be races that you're going to see what we see here, 17. What my hope is that we don't see the 15, 14 car fields that we've seen in the past. Because if you got these guys spread out enough, and some of them are only running part-time, they're likely going to run at those races where it is where we have been short on top fuel cars. What's crazy though is that not one of these drivers decided that they wanted to drive a funny car. And to me, even as a guy who would want to be in a top fuel car, I would go funny car racing. It's crowded over there. And there's probably going to be times, probably a 4 wide, probably Indy or one of the other specialty races. I'll say Maple Grove. You're going to have 19 or 20 cars out there, and a good car that is likely in points contention is going to be sitting out. And to me, that ain't worth it. At least I got space in funny car. I'm excited too, Briar. I'm excited about the Pro Stock season. As Eddie said on our show here, the best bike was not out there last year. And you can agree or disagree or take that with a grain of salt. That Buell or that V-twin of Matt Smith is going to be something to be reckoned with. And they've built about 4 bullets over there, and he's a little ticked off that he couldn't perform up to par last year. I can't wait to see him hit the track and see what numbers they put up. But Vance and Hines has got 2 bullets too. Richard Gaston, raced in the XDA, in other pro stock, other motorcycle racing, that some don't really pay attention to. If you pay attention to cycle drag, Richard Gaston. He ain't no joke, and he rides just like Gage. So the question is, can they now get that bike up to par with Gage's bike, which they have it. That bike came on late in the season. So looking forward to that. Scott, appreciate you tuning in, man. I love the fact that we have some consistent people here, and I appreciate the support. Mighty Max in the comments. He says, I expect Tony to be back in victory lane at least once. If Clay keeps the momentum from Bradenton, I truly has a cool track setup. Expect him to make some noise. You're 100% correct there. Got a chance to talk to Jimmo too. And with him being back with his best bud teaming up there, it's going to be very interesting to see what numbers they can put up, because we know they can run in the 60s. Just hadn't been consistent with trying to hit that number when it mattered. Like you said, cool track tune-ups. Those Friday night hero sessions, they have got to hit on more than they have in the past. Super important. Dave W., what's up, man? He says, top fuel is where it's at. Funny cars, 2 stacked. True. I'm with you. I'm a top fuel guy. I really would not be in a funny car ever. But I mean, I don't know, man. I see some windows. It depends, I guess, right? Depends on who's your crew chief, and what type of team you've got. Mainly crew chief is a real big issue, but also you want to have a good team too. That plays a part in it. But yeah, it is stacked. And I think Austin Prock, not sure how long, whether it's the duration of the season or what they do, but man, he has a car that can go the distance if he can just drive. That's all it is to it. And he's proven that he can do that. Drag Racing Mayhem says, top fuel is just cheaper. Simple as that. To be honest, you could make an argument to have just one nitro class to get everyone together. It would be boring though. Like the floppers just add, drama You just don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if that car is going to go straight or it's going to be a whole zigzag deal all the way down the track if that driver decides to harvest his nuts and say he ain't going to lift at all. If it gets close to the wall, I'll deal with it. But yeah, it's cheaper, but I think we'd be missing that. What's going on, Lonnie? Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. He says, watch out for Mike Salinas and Paul Lee. Yeah, we had this conversation earlier. I agree, and I mentioned Paul Lee earlier as well. Yeah, I think Mike Salinas, little off at the end of last year. Rob Flynn is no joke. And, everybody talked about, the precious book. But as you can see, there's people that have come out of, the Shanahan tree, the Bill Walsh tree, and they've taken that book and expanded on it. And he's definitely done that. They just have to find that level of consistency they had from about 2 years ago. So, and I think they can do that. I am too. We'll see. I mean, they said that they've been in the lab and nobody works harder. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody works harder than Matt Smith. I mean, again, this is his life. Just like John Forrest, this is his life. This is all he's got. And he's vested. That means there's no days off. And I think we're going to see that there was no days off this offseason as they went back to what he knows best and what was really working well. A bike that was same as Gage's at one point, running away with it. If he gets it back to where it needs to be, they're going to be able to make some noise, and they're going to put some pressure on Vance and Hines. Yeah, Clay has been stepping up. We talked about that too. Clay, and my biggest thing was last season early, and when they went to Rick Ware, is that Jimmo just needed to get his confidence back. It felt like he had just kind of lost his confidence and his belief in himself. And when things started rolling and they were going rounds, and in the final round, that's when you saw Jimmo go back to what he does best. And they became very consistent. And I expect that to continue. He's got a good pairing with, I think his name's Bonifani, his best friend there that he's worked with before. Yeah, they're going to be some players. And I think they will be players in the championship race. Yeah, Top Fuel in those Friday night sessions, man. They're, like I said, hero sessions. I am very much looking to my guy, Bob Tasca. If you are living under a rock, most of you guys are not, but that 341.68 mile per hour run was no joke. And I think they can pull it off. And he's very confident that they can pull it off here in the NHRA. It is a speed that is recognized. I saw someone saying about that being in the stats on the Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza. It is not a NHRA stat, though, but I think it will be. And I think he's hell-bent on making sure that it happens. And if anybody can do it, they've proven that they can. I wouldn't be surprised if Antron Brown can break that 340 with the dragster either. I would not be surprised. Drag Racing Mayhem says, if it was my choice to have only one, it would be funny cars since they are more challenging to drive. Agreed. But I don't like motors in front of me, so challenging, throw that out the window. I'm not having nothing blow up in my face. Says, love to see the youth moving in the class. We need young people to buy in. It's the future. Scott, 100% right. It's something that I've been talking about for a long time here as far as marketing, as far as the direction, as far as social media, how we engage, how the sport engages with its fans. You know, I've said it time and time again. I'm 43 years old. It ain't about me. It's about guys like Drag Racing Mayhem who are young and they consume things differently. And if the sport can tap into that, which I think Mission Foods is going to really provide some interesting social media work. And you've seen it throughout the offseason as we've started to work towards the regular season. The NHRA has been more involved and doing a lot of good work with their social media. It has gotten better. And I expect throughout the season that it will improve. We had a conversation, me and Lonnie had a conversation earlier today about guys like Jack Beckman and Tommy Johnson. And, you know, you see Wilkerson now going to the crew chief role. You know, sponsors are looking at younger people. And that's just, you know, it's for marketing. It's for brand. You know what I mean? It's to attract younger fans. We've seen it in time or two in the past. Remember when Gary Densham was running in a really good car, and later on, you know, he had to step away. They moved on from Gary and brought in a younger fellow. I believe that fellow was Robert Height. And it's just a matter of sometimes in this business, if you're not John Force, you age out. Not saying you can't ever run again, but you age out. And I think it's a good thing, though, to have these young drivers. I think we're going to see some real big personalities. I'm really excited about Daniel Wilkerson getting on that mic and firing off. It's going to be fun. Lonnie says, I'll say this, Clay's video blogs are top notch. You got that right. He's a star now. He's hard to get to. I have some pictures I might share. You can see him on my Facebook page, my early days before I ever got a talent contract, doing my own thing, and was able to get some pictures with him. He actually would watch my show, and yeah, in the early days, it was pretty cool. But he does really good social media stuff. Yeah, that 341 is something else. It's incredible. Drag Racing Mayhem, Bradenton also has perfect air conditions too. Way better than any track on the NHRA schedule. Yeah, where they're located, air is very clean. You know, like I said, air may not be the best at Gainesville, but the track is just, it's something about it, man. We've seen a lot of big numbers and a lot of speed records, a lot of ET records have been set here in Gainesville, whether it's pro stock motorcycle or the like. We've seen some numbers here. If the conditions are right, especially on Sunday, I believe it's going to be in the 70s. And after that front moves through of rain, it should be pretty clean air, pretty crisp, because that night it's going to be 48 degrees in Gainesville. So that tells you about how cool that air is going to be, how crisp it's going to be at 70. Not a lot of humidity in the air. Should be pretty interesting for Sunday conditions and seeing what goes down. Drag Racing Mayhem says, something I've been preaching as well as a young person. And for the most part, we've missed the mark in many areas. Yeah. And they have. And like I said, we've seen some movement here, and what NHRA has been doing with their social media. They have been very engaging as of late coming into this season. And I believe with some of the things I know of people who are involved in this right now, I believe that we're going to see an ascension here. Now it's just a matter of kind of finding the groove, and then you got to find what works and what's going to get young people to not just take a glance because we have a influencer at the track, but to take a look and then stick and stay and invest. And I think things like social media, Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza, that will help people to become vested because they actually have skin in the game. And when you have skin in the game, it makes it more important to you because you want to win. Scott says, I'm old, but want the younger generation to lead the way. Me too. Me too. I'd love to be out there, but they don't need me. I'd rather see the young guys do it. Dave W. says they definitely need to market to the young guys like me better. Yeah? You're that young, Dave? He said Kenny retired for Brandon because of Bud. Corey Mack got aced. Yeah, McDonald. Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot about those two things. That is one of those. Brandon stepped in for Kenny, and Kenny was still a viable driver at that time. But it's about marketing. I miss the beer wagon days. I really do. Drag Racing Mayhem says we've had the same names in the top of the sport for the past 15 years. About time we have some new front runners. Amen. Lonnie says I enjoyed the chat, and I've added your show to Drag Racing roster. I appreciate it. Nitro Performance Guy. He's going to be talking a lot this year. These numbers are going to be something to talk about. He's going to break that stuff down. Hence, the Nitro Performance Guy. He looks at a lot of performance and breaks that down. It's going to be a really good season for performance, I believe. My camera guy, Fred Warner, says Clay was our first interview. It was amazing to witness years ago. It was. Yeah, it was. Couldn't have done it without you, that's for sure. Like a lot of things. I'm going to tell you, my camera guy, Fred Warner, keeps me straight because I'm all over the place, especially now. And I deal with a lot of anxiety, so sometimes my schedule gets overwhelmed in my head, but he keeps me straight. Dave W. says, fun fact, the pro stock 200-mile-an-hour barrier was broken at Gainesville, too. See, a lot of records have been set here at this track. It's just something about it. NHRA prepares it very well, does some good things there, and they lay the numbers down, even when the track doesn't look like it's going to hold. I know. I hate autocorrect too, Lonnie. It gets me every time, especially with the fat thumbs. It's just, one of those things. Man, it's going to be a fun weekend. If you haven't already, and you can, get NHRA TV. If you haven't listened to the Brian Loans podcast, he talks about the things that are going to implement after we on the NHRA Roku, Sling, TV channels. Looks like they're going to have some pit cameras and some other things that will be rolling out that he did not mention yet, but should be interesting. For all of you here, this is the last show we will have on Wednesday night. We are moving as of March 12th to Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Tuesday at 7 p.m. As you saw across the bottom there, the ticker, we're going to Tuesday night. It's going to be fun. It's going to allow us to have drivers and tuners on. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. We're going to have tuners on. We're going to be able to have drivers on because their travel day, when it's race week after week, back to back, is on Wednesday. So we're going to have that on Tuesday. You're going to see me twice. I'm still subbing in for the Power Hour. So that means I got back-to-back shows, but it's going to be fun. Like I said, we're going to keep it different here. We're going to keep it different like we always have been and keep it rolling. Again, this has been the Not Bland Show for Sports Journey, Everything Nitro. Man, another one down. And we're all week 23. You guys have a great night. Make sure you catch the Gatornationals. That will be this weekend. It's going to be a blast. And I will talk to you guys next week.